Good afternoon, welcome back to my channel. Today I've got a mug with joy on it, and I've got a lovely little malt loaf. But I've got a mug with joy on it because it's one of my most joyous days. Because next to me on my right here, I've got a box that is 17 kilos of vintage sci-fi, maybe a few fantasy thrown in. 17 kilos. So I'm emphasizing that because I was quite surprised when I saw the weight of the box. So this is giant book haul number 4, I think now. And like I did with 3, I'm going to split it into 2 because I think it's 100 books. It's 2 eBay lots of 50 and 50. My normal flow, I see a picture online. Some look okay, I scan, it's okay, I put a bid in, or I put an offer in. If I win it, I then don't look at it. So I don't do an inventory, I don't do a check, I just look at a good price for a big bulk lot. This one I think was a little bit more than I usually pay. I think it was like £1.50 a book, £1.40 a book, something like that. Which for me, for the fun of doing it, etc., even if I get a lot of duds or it's not as good a deal as I got before, I'm happy with that, and it really is my joyous place. The sun's out, my wife is out working currently. I'm here with my 2 cats, and I want to talk books. So without further ado, I'll have a bite of my malt loaf, I'll have a drink of my tea, and I'm going to open this mighty box. So you would have seen a picture, probably I would have posted a picture of one of my cats, Mabel, sat on the box when it was delivered to the front door. The postman wasn't too happy with me. He's getting on a bit, lovely bloke. So I'm opening the box now. But he did say I had to bring it in because it was too heavy, which is fair enough. I'm sorry, mate. So he'll definitely get a tip at Christmas time. So there is brown paper. But not a lot, and there is literally just piles and piles of books under one brown paper ceiling. So yeah, without further ado, let's get to it. So I feel like I haven't done this for a while. I've done mini hauls, I've done the condition lottery, I've done the lucky dip. I haven't done a big one like this, and the last one I did, I think, was something like 74 books, giant book haul 3, and I had to split that into 2 because it's heavy going, even though it's joyous, right? So I'll do 2 probably again. Let's see how we go, but let's jump into it. And the first one I can see is Frederick Dunstan, Habitation 1, and there's a little note by Colin Wilson. So that's Orbit. In very good condition, like shiny condition. Tiny bit of spine roll. Now, is that slightly later than I would normally get? Yes, slightly, 1983, but I'm okay with that. I am kind of venturing into the 80s without knowing it, basically. I've actually got, one day I'll show you my Google sheet where I've got like a color code if it's 60s or 80s, because 70s is the norm. If it goes slightly earlier, colour A, slightly later, colour B. And there are a few 80s going in there. So a stunning piece of work, says Colin Wilson. High above the mountains towers the shimmering column that is Habitation 1. So that must be down the front cover. Home for barely 1,000 people. For the world that may lie beyond those peaks, they have no concern. Of their own origins and history, even they have little knowledge. So a little bit like maybe, is it Wool, the silo, Hugh Howey, which was subterranean kind of columns like this. Habitation 1 is a column. Really good start, because I've never heard of this, and I really like the look of it. I really like the idea of it. Suppose that these things should be revealed to them. Suppose that a series of events should turn the everyday into the macabre, and turn the unbelievable into reality. Only then would the people of Habitation 1 truly know their past, their present, and their destiny. Nice. Really good start. So I'm going to put some here. No, I'm going to put them over here. Have we got a little cat coming? No, we haven't. Okay, number 2. Okay, so I have read this in Sci-Fi Masterworks, and I don't know. No, I didn't. I got Play a Piano, I think, in one haul. So this is Kurt Vonnegut Jr., The Sirens of Titan, but an older Coronet edition with a cool kind of warped Chevy Chase cover. I've never seen this cover, and I do need to read this again. I remember really enjoying this, but again, it's 25 years ago, 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Among the inhabitants, Winston Runford, a space traveller caught up in chronosynclastic infundibulum, one of the hazards of intruding into space-time. Malachi Constant, the richest and luckiest man. Nice. I do, this is one that is definitely on my reread pile. I don't think I'll have a chance to go through the whole Sci-Fi Masterworks again, but I kind of need to because I'm losing my memory, basically. I'm not that old, but my memory's pretty bad. And this is the second second impression of Coronet 1972. So not the best condition, but I'm happy to have that in my collection. Good copy, slight spine roll, little bit kind of dirty in places, but good condition inside. And you can't go wrong with Sirens of Titan, any copy. So 2 from 2, very happy so far. Number 3. Okay, so this is a different format. I've nearly always got a format in these hauls, so this is slightly different. And this is Corgi, and you can tell it's slightly newer as well. A Secret History of Time to Come, A Chilling Vision of the Far Future by Roby, is that Robbie or Roby Macaulay? So something, again, I wouldn't normally pick up. And it's probably 90s, even later maybe, but let's see. No way. Oh, no, okay. No, so 1983. Interesting. I haven't seen these kind of editions, but a profound and frightening vision of a world that could exist after the collapse of our civilization, a world where strange adventures are not only impossible but imperative. Interesting. A brilliantly imagined novel, an absorbing tale of humanity locked into repeating its history in a setting that is chillingly real. Yeah, something again I would never pick up, but interesting. It's kind of, I'm definitely going to have, is this B format trade paperback? I'm not sure. I have to look that up. I'm not an expert of that for sure. And you'll know that from my Gordon R. Dixon escapade. But nice, 3 from 3. Yeah, 1983, but happy with that. Okay, well, here's one I do know. I think I had the original short story collection with, is it called The Sentinel? Which was the original story that triggered 2001. But it's a copy of 2001: A Space Odyssey. Obviously Arthur C. Clarke, based on the screenplay. So this is a novelization of the screenplay for the Kubrick film. Arrow, pretty good condition. It has been read. Nice cover. And anyone that's seen it, obviously the spinner with the guy running around. I remember that from my childhood. Just being really impressed with it. I know people think back now and say it looks dated. I actually don't. I think a lot of the physical effects, the mechanical effects, the visual effects are really impressive, and I'll always remember, you know, towards the end in terms of the Star Child, etc. So 1978, and I'm pretty sure it's based on a short story, but yeah, nice. I haven't got a copy of that, especially not the screenplay. So yeah, pretty good. And I haven't read Arthur C. Clarke for a long time. So maybe he is one of the big 3, right? I think it's Asimov, Heinlein, and Clarke. I think, is that still the big 3? I don't know. I could be wrong. So mine are like Bester, now Ellison, and someone else. So yeah, I do need to start reading a little bit more Clarke, or rereading Clarke, because it's been a long time. I don't remember liking that much. So Childhood's End I remember liking, but I need to revisit for sure. Sip of tea. We're going pretty quickly. That's 4 in, and I'm just picking randomly. So there were 2 lots, so that I don't think they're in like the lots anyway. Okay, so my first pan, it has got a like quite an annoying lean, but Julian May. Now, is Julian May fantasy? Book 4 in the Saga of the Exiles, The Adversary, the many-coloured land, the golden talk, the non-born king. Pan, slightly newer. The Fervor Lag arising. As soon as I read Fervor Lag, I'm thinking Scandinavian fantasy or something like that, right? While the children of the meta-psychic rebels race to reopen the time gate, science fantasy. The soul escape route back into the galactic milieu, science fantasy. Now the adversary takes up his destined role in the power play. Mark Remillard, defeated leader of the meta-psychic. So, again, something if it was in a bookshop now, let's say a new bookshop, and I was looking for new novels, I wouldn't pick that up. Probably, I'd expect it to be fantasy, but let's see. Well, I can't read it directly anyway, because there's no way. I'm one of those guys. There's obviously no way I'm going to jump into book 4. Even with comics, I find that hard. So, okay, so 1984 Pan books. So nice. I don't think I've got any Julian May. So, and it is science fantasy, I think. So I'll keep it. But yeah, another 80s. So what's that? 2 70s and 3 80s so far. So more on the 80s side, but that's fine. Okay, now, you know, I always say there's 1 or 2 books that stand out when I go big on, you know, when I go for a big lot. There's always 1 or 2 that stand out, right? And this was one of them. There's actually 2 that I kind of remember, the rest I haven't got a clue. And I've got a copy of this, and I got it in a haul, and it was the Women's Press edition. But this one I think is quite hard to get. So it's Joanna Russ, The Female Man, but it's the Star edition. And I remember seeing this and thinking, that's in good condition, and that's quite rare. And when I say rare, I think it's like 15, 20 pounds. I don't know, but I think it's rare. And that's just a really nice, again, a bit of spine roll, which is fine. I feel like these have been read, which is what they are meant to have been done to them. But that is just a fantastic cover. I think that's quite an iconic cover for this story. And I think this is Star Book 1977. So I haven't read this yet. I obviously do want to read this. And that is just a fantastic cover. I like that more than the Women's Press I got. The one I've got with the Women's Press is like the one with the frame inside, the kind of greyish ones. That is much more me, let's say. So yes, that's by far the #1 pick. So I'm going to put that on its own to the side as a favourite of the first 6. That's all, first 6. Okay, I've got this somewhere here. I still don't want to kind of stand up and faff around, but I've got this from a recent haul, this edition, 4 square. The other one was not in great condition. This isn't in great condition, but I think it's better than that. So Robert Heinlein, Starship Troopers, like I haven't read. I've watched the movie, but haven't read. And 4 square. And again, kind of, it's a cover that I remember. Like it just sticks in my head because of the red guns. It's like they kind of pop out of the page. So this is 1967. So yeah, I need to have a check of mine. And I think it's not great, but it's old, obviously. And I think it is slightly better than mine. So that's a keeper. So an upgrade. The other one will go into, I've got a bag down to my left, which is my charity shop bag. Or I might do some giveaways. So on my last, I've sent 2 books out for free. On my last one, I've offered a 3rd one on my last video, depending on the order that I upload. And then there'll be some others like this that people may not want, and I will just give them to charity, or I might just do some giveaways for the community, etc. Cool, thank you. That's a good one. I'm saying thank you to the seller. I did buy it, but yes. Okay, so good. Nice. Nice. So this is nice. So a Lancer science fiction original. Sam Merwin Jr., The Time Shifters. Now, for me personally, that's more like it. A bit of a psychedelic, barefoot in the head type cover. They called it TTT, short for the time teleportation technique. I'm in. And it's good condition. It is good condition. I think it's one of those kind of yellowish text blocks. I don't think it's faded or dirty. So Lancer Books, New York, and that is 1971. And that looks, that's my first smell of the haul. That looks unread. I know nothing about that book, but I really, really like it. And that's all I need to feel. Tomorrow's war is fought on the battlefields of yesterday, soldiered by misfits from today. Could be an absolute classic. I'm putting it with The Female Man as another favourite. Okay, so what's that, 8? Okay, nice. So I don't think I've had any H.G. Wells in any haul, right? And I have read a few things. I think even at school I might have read Time Machine. But here is In the Days of the Comet by Fontana. Now, these Fontana editions, I kind of take them or leave them, to be honest. I do quite like them, and they do remind me of the old, like the Grafton with the white spine. But that cover is phenomenal, and it is in good condition again. In its path lay war, revolution, hatred, and revenge. At first it had been an almost telescopic speck. It had brightened to the dimensions of the greatest star in the heavens. It had still grown hour by hour. I can't speak. Hour by hour, in its incredibly swift, noiseless, and inevitable rush upon our Earth, until it had equalled and surpassed the moon. Now it was the most splendid thing this sky of Earth has ever held. And that cover's by Justin Todd. It's like Northern Lights gone mad. Northern Lights, barefoot in the head. So 1978. You forget how old things like H.G. Wells is. 1906 original. So 1978. That's nice. And I haven't got a lot of H.G. Wells. I haven't read any for, I'd probably say, 30 years, to be honest. So really nice for the collection. Very happy. The joy is still there. Let's drink from the joy mug. I was talking to a friend the other day about what becomes more and more important as you get older that you never thought of when you were younger, right? One thing for me is tea, right? Tea I never cared for at all. It wasn't even on my radar. Now, tea is incredibly important. Number 2, actually, that I thought was is radio. So anyone watching this that is a lot younger than me, you're like, what? Radio? But actually, the concept of radio as a companion, and also if you like specific, channels and things, and, I like kind of more slower paced talking stuff, then it just becomes that, and tea becomes really important. Anyway, that's an aside. So what's next? This looks nice. So I never collected corgi. I think I said in one of my old videos, like originally I never openly went out to get corgi, and I've got a few of those blue corgi, is it science fiction library books. They're a bit thin, a bit loose, but that's what I read the last Brian Aldiss. But this is Corgi Books, People in Space, 4 science fiction stories by James White, Deadly Letter. And it's like a coloured pencil cover, and it's just really nice. So a thin compendium, they call it anthology. Maybe not anthology because they're all from him. So short stories. What happens to the rubbish in space? We've all worried about that, including The Simpsons. Wow, 1968. That is good condition again. Oh man. That's really nice. And I kind of like that, like pastel-y coloured pencils, faded kind of cover with the pink. Impressed. I'm putting that on my favourite pile. It has been read. Oh, they're numbered as well. Corgi science fiction from the 60s are numbered. That could be the beginning of the end. Very good, very good. Okay. This one is Methuen. John Shirley Eclipse. To a shattered world, he brought back the music of liberty. So this is new. This is a very square, very good condition. Faded spine. Looks like it when you look at the front cover. When the nuclear bombs destroyed Europe, they did not kill human hate and fear. Yeah, not sure about that one. I think this must be 90s, surely. Is this 80s as well? Yeah, 1986. Oh, but originally 1953, so it is old. Yeah, that's, see, for me, that cover, like, I don't know, it just doesn't do much for me. I know it's like, oh, look. France is destroyed. Yeah, not sure. Not sure, but again, it will definitely be in my retirement library. It is science fiction, or Dying Earth, or post-apocalyptic dystopia type thing. It is in great condition. I don't know anything about John Shirley, so it's a keeper, but it's just not as exciting as, I don't know why, as that. It's just, you know, it's all taste, isn't it, and subjective. Okay, we've had 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We've had 11 with no real, let's say, duplicates, or none that I know I've got in my science fiction retirement library collection already. This is the first one I know I've got. Actually, no, it's the second one, isn't it? Sorry, tell a lie. That's the first one. So the second one is this. So I know I've got this, and I've got this sphere version. Sci-fi classic number 13, Next of Kin, Eric Frank Russell. And I seem to remember, I've got a picture in my head, that it's a similar condition to this one as well. So, lovely little book. Again, the pages are in such good quality, it feels unread again. And this is 70s, low to mid 70s, I think. 1973. I just need to check, is this an upgrade or is this a to pass on? Again, I like that cover. Is that a Peter Jones cover? I'm not going to look it up now, but see, some of them they don't tell you. Oh, maybe no. That doesn't tell you, which is a shame. But yeah, nice little brown book. Oh, okay. Some authors you see and you get a little bit excited about, and I don't remember seeing this on the lot, on either of the two lots. It's getting a bit dark in here. Might need to put something on somewhere. Ursula K. Le Guin. Is it Le Guin? Le Guin? Threshold. Excitingly told, elegant parable. Miss Le Guin is a magisterial imaginer. And that's John Updike said that. Run, rabbit. I think it's, again, 80s. And I've never heard of it, but I've got a few friends, a few kind of nerdy friends like me, who would absolutely love that character on the front. What on earth is that thing? I can see him running from... That's a strange cover. That's a strange cover. Anyway. Oh, it's Grafton. Colin's Grafton. 1986 this is. So is that the newest one so far? I think it might be. It was the threshold place, far away from suburbs, supermarkets, freeways. It was calm and soothing place. This is why I'm stumbling, because this is kind of long sight. I need this. A forest place where time stood still. He liked to drink the fresh, clear water there and feel new strength flow through his body. It was his place. Interesting, like a Gollum-like character, like a hermit Shrek type character. And maybe it's his, you know, solitude, and also the land nourishes him in a magical way or something like that. So it's Ursula, therefore, ergo, I keep. Nothing more to be said. Okay, good. I might pause there and get my... Those that saw one of my other hauls, I got this H-Beam Piper like omnibus, and I don't know what was in it, but this is an Orbit, one of the singles. So Little Fuzzy, look at that. We talked about the strange creature on the last one. Look at that Little Fuzzy. Do you think they are, anyone that's read it, tell me, are they adorable, or are they, you know, not the gizmo side of Gremlins, but the other side of Gremlins? I think it's a little bit faded again, but pretty good condition. It's a bit yellow. Yeah, it's definitely faded. I feel that that's not meant to be as white. You see that there's some orange there, but relatively square. I think, again, it's newer than I'd like. And say that, 1977 Orbit, and again in good condition. So I'm the type of guy that is happy to have an omnibus and the individuals. So yeah, pretty good. And what a lovely little character. One of the fuzzies. And here's an other fuzzy. Same, yeah, looks like the same Orbit edition. Is this one after? Also Little Fuzzy, and what's that one? Fuzzy Sapiens. Okay, so yeah, it's definitely joined. There's some more of those. Reminds me a little bit of Where the Wild Things Are, the art style. And again, it wouldn't grab me as a sci-fi fan. Like, I don't know, it is a classic. Like, I've heard a lot about the, you know, I've heard a lot of, or I hear a lot about it, right? I'm not saying good, bad, or ugly, but you hear a lot about it. Is it because it's kind of, there's a novelty to it, that it's just kind of, not comical, but it's kind of playful in a way because of these little characters? I don't know. For the first time since the secret of interstellar flight was discovered, men have found an intelligent sapient species on a planet orbiting a distant star. So, yeah, I'm sure people have said Ewoks, Gremlins, other, but 1977. So those two in my omnibus, nice, very good for my H-Beam Piper shelf eventually. I might need another tea soon. So I don't know how many down. Right, this is a very thin one. Now, again, there's something in my head that remembers this cover. Now that is nice. These are the things that kind of get me excited. A non-barcode A-format paperback, thin but square. This one is NEL. Basically uniform design, like wraparound cover, and then just an interesting piece of art on the front. The Secret Visitors by James White. Lovely smell. And 1971, so early 70s. Fantastic condition. Like, I don't think there's any, well, I say fantastic condition, there's a slight bit up here, but for my retirement library, brilliant. And I don't think there's much value to these kind of books, like market value. But to me, this is what, again, brings me joy. That's fantastic. That's going on my favourites pile. Some more tea, because that gave me some luck. Ah, nice. Okay. So first, Robert Heinlein, and it's a Pan Books X713 Science Fiction Adventures, Farmer in the Sky. Now, I think I've got some other versions of this. This, I'm pretty sure, is the oldest. I was staring at a raw hole in the ship, almost between my feet and nearly as big as my fist. There was a scorched insulation around it, and in the middle of the hole I could see blackness. Then a star whipped past, and I realised I was staring right out into space. Nice. This was originally 3 and 6 in the UK. So how old is this? And again, pretty good condition. And I do love my Pan. 1967, this edition. Okay, so this looks like short stories, maybe? Yes. A wonderful glimpse into the mists of the future. What a lovely way of writing it. So good, and it's one of those, these look great on the shelf. So I've got a few Pan of different types, but if they're these black ones, all look great. And look at the typeface for Farmer in the Sky. You know, back then that was like, this is proper modern, right? Before font design, that is modern as you can get. Nice. Okay. Okay. There's a few kind of post-apocalyptic, post-nuclear war that we've seen. So maybe this was from a collection of someone that liked that kind of literature. So this is Lawrence Huff, The Terrifying Chiller of the Ultimate Nuclear Accident, Dome. Read it while it's still fiction. Now there's a tagline. Read it while it's still fiction. There is absolutely no danger, no danger, no danger, no and then it stops. I'd love to have been one of those blurb writers. So this is NEL again, slightly newer, and 1980, first NEL paperback edition. The mighty breeder reactor sat like a squat giant on the red skyline of the Louisiana Bayou. Interesting. Again, not going to be massively high on my TBR. I'm not the biggest fan of, you know, I've obviously read things like The Road and things like that, but I'm not the biggest fan of, oh, there's been an atomic, what are we doing, you know, and The Road was brilliant, obviously. The best of that kind of thing, but I don't know, I like a bit more twist, turn, time, perception, maybe not as far as Barefoot in the Head, but those kind of warped, Philip K. Dickian type things. Okay, who was talking about this the other day? Someone on BookTube that I came across. Was it Science Fiction Reads? Was talking about this. So Colin Wilson, The Space Vampires. Now I've got a few Colin Wilson, but I don't think I've got this. And I definitely haven't got the Panther. And again, pretty good condition. Slight crease here, reading crease. Pages are good condition. So published by Granada, Panther 1977, so a little bit of a crease. Now, I'm not going to say anti-vampire, but I've never cared for vampires until I read Peter Watts' Blind Sight. So that was actually on my shelf when I posted my Sci-Fi Masterwork shelf, and I read that quite recently, like 2 years ago, 3 years ago, I can't remember, and I never cared for vampires, and I still don't really care for vampire, but the vampire in that book, I liked. Just put it that way. I'm not going to say anything more than that. You all have read it probably, or need to read it, and it is a great read, and the vampire character plays a key role. But yeah, so, but this, again, I'm saying that because I'm more... I'm not as reluctant to say, well, it's got a vampire on it, it's got a zombie on it, that I'm not going to look at it. I think the Space Vampires is less, or is more appealing because of Blind Sight, let's say. Nice. My pile is getting very big over here. Talking of Colin Wilson, I have I think an older Panther, The Mind Parasites. Now look at that cover. Wow. I heard a fact the other day. It's interesting because there's an eyeball in a skull, like in a brain there, which is your brain is not aware of your eyeballs. And if your brain was aware of your eyeballs, it would attack them as like a foreign body. Your body would attack your eyeballs. I don't know if that's true or not, but it was being sold as a fact. And then I see this, which is I don't know. You know what I'm like in terms of I like making connection. Author of Ritual in the Dark, Colin Wilson, Panther. And I think these are late 60s, aren't they? So 1969, again, a slight roll. These white books do get a little bit grimy. That's probably the best word for them. But apart from that, really clean pages again. Something is sucking the human mind dry. The parasites, the mind parasites, the brain suckers. Does that remind me of Red Dwarf? Is it Red Dwarf? Okay, nice. A couple of Colin Wilsons there. Are we anywhere near halfway? I don't think we are. I think we're about 20-something% through. Okay, the World Fantasy Award-winning novel of life lived over again and again. Replay, Ken Grimwood. First kind of old school, the Grafton that we're aware of. Always reminds me of Asimov robot books. So is that faded? I don't know. I think that's kind of coming across. Interesting character at the bottom there, a little bit Minority Report-esque. The pain hit Jeff Winston like a sledgehammer in the chest, and he collapsed over his desk. The last thing the 42-year-old radio newsman saw was a fractured glass paperweight. Then he was awake again, in his room on campus. The year was 1963. The Crystals were singing Do Ron Ron through a mono speaker, and Jeff Winston was 18. He was experiencing replay. I'm interested in that Back to the Future type thing. It's 1988, so that is the newest I've got so far. So I've literally got from like mid to late 60s to 1988. So fantastic box so far. Joyous, as I've said. Nice. One of those. It's one of those ones that I could see if I went on like a beach holiday. I don't do that generally, but if I went on a beach holiday, that's the kind of book I'd take, and hopefully like skim through it as an intriguing. You know, like people talk about Blake Crouch. Is it Blake Crouch? Dark Matter, etc. Now, like maybe this is the late 80s equivalent of that. Nice. So what have we got? So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. So 21, yeah. So 21% in. Oh, this is nice. What an interesting cover. So Corgi again. The Hephaestus Plague by Thomas Page. But look at that cover. Nice. Now that can't be that old, surely, because that's very like uber creative, right? Oh yeah. Again, good condition. It has got these circular stickers. Look, remnants of a circular sticker. Good condition. Is it Hephaestus? I thought it was Hephaestus. If I'm thinking of Sufjan Stevens' lyrics. Hephaestus who died. Could be wrong. Fire was the first achievement which separated man from the beasts and made him ruler of the earth. No other animal, reptile, bird or insect could match the strength of man plus fire, but not anymore. They came from within dark caverns on the bowels of the earth, a new species of insect. Whenever I think of that, I think of the Furies. Is it the Furies? Is that Keith Roberts? And the front cover of the pan black. Okay, so these are fire-wielding or fire-creating insects. Wow, 1975. It's hard to get across, but that's really crisp. And I like it. I do like it. Nice. I'm going to put that in my favourites, actually, just because of the cover. The story, it doesn't really rock my world, but... okay. So Kate Wilhelm, I read in the Sci-Fi Masterworks a long, long time ago. I remember Where Late the Sweet Bird Sang that I read 25 years ago, but I cannot remember it again. It's so sad. All of these amazing words that have gone into my head and then flopped around somewhere, or... you know, in a compartment somewhere at the back. But this is Kate Wilhelm, so I have heard of her, and this is called Welcome Chaos. The best treatment of the immortality theme I've seen in ages. So immortality is a really interesting one at the moment because I've been reading A. Van Vogt, who really has got immortality as a theme. I would say masks or identity and immortality are two of his key themes. And I do like the idea of it, like what it means. Is it really a dream? When someone asks for superpowers, would they really ask to be immortal? I don't know if it's like heaven or hell, right? The more man learns, the more dangerous he becomes. The greater the civilization, the greater the chaos it eventually unleashes. If you discovered the secret of immortality, to whom would you give it? To the scientists, the politicians, the military, to the Americans, the Russians, the Chinese? Interesting. So more a political thing. I'd actually put this one... so 1987, I'd put that one alongside that one as like an 80s sci-fi thriller. I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong because Kate Wilhelm is well respected as a more insightful writer than what I'm saying there. But I don't know. There's something that says, like a bit of a thriller. Okay, next duplicates, and this will probably be a giveaway, but it's in amazing condition. So I bought this at a London book fair a few years back. Find the Changeling, Gregory Benford and Gordon Eklund. So Sphere, I think it's early 80s. So that's great condition, but my other one's pretty good condition. So again, let me know in the comments. I will not get rid of this one if you would like a free copy. So yeah, 1983. If you would like a free copy of this, it probably will be my other one, but it's in good condition. The Changeling could become anyone or anything, man, woman, child, or animal. It was endowed with an inborn lust for disorder and destruction. Now it has chosen the plague-ridden planet of Elvea for its next mission, to throw an entire universe into chaos and madness. So haven't read a lot of Gregory Benford, if anything. Nothing really comes to mind. I get him mixed up with Eon writer. But yeah, let me know. I've got that. I've definitely got that. It is another duplicate. So I've got 3. But it's probably the best condition, and I know the other one's the best condition. So let me know in the comments if you'd like that copy sent to you, and I'll just send it to the first person. Okay, now this was one that I saw on the lot, and I liked it because I've got another Arrow book by E.C. Tubb of the same livery, and I just like the idea of the name Toyman. And look at that cover. It's like Button Moon or something. Good condition again, but these are slightly older. These Arrow, look at that. And I can't remember which one I've got, but I've got one that looks exactly like this one and in similar condition. So yeah, 1973 Arrow books, great condition. Needed by Doomarest, information on the whereabouts of the planet Earth. On the world toy was the giant computer that might have the information, but the world of toy gave nothing for free. Interesting. The world of toy. I like that. I'm putting that on my favorites. Oh, here's a bigger one. Now it's not A format either. So, edited by Walter M. Miller, which is Canticle for Leibowitz, and Martin Greenberg. Beyond Armageddon, Survivors of the Mega War. And there's a cover of Mad Maxian design. That's the biggest book so far, I'd say. When mankind has destroyed itself. So there is a theme in this box, right? Mankind destroying itself. With its own weapons. Will the few survivors be sustained by their hope of a new world, or will they wish that they too had perished? The greatest names in science fiction describe the aftermath of nuclear holocaust in 21 disturbing tales. So you feel like, I don't know, I like to not just have stories of books, but stories of collections of books or groups of books. You like to think this might be someone's dad. Not like to think, obviously, because they might have passed, and that's why I've got them now. But in terms of people buying books for someone because they liked, you know, a certain theme, and he or she was, you know, open about liking these kind of post-apocalyptic nuclear kind of stories. So on here, Lucia Shepherd, nice. Robert Sheckley, Norman Spinrad, Ward Moore, Carol M. Schwiller, not sure, John Wyndham, Edward Bryant, Ballard, Paul Anderson, Robert Abernathy, Edgar Pangborn, which I've literally got something the other day, Rog Phillips, Stephen V. Benet, Ray Bradbury, ×2. Oh, there's Ray Bradbury and Ray Bradbury. Typo, unless there's a Ray Bradbury. Rogers Lasney, William Tenn, Michael Swanwick, Arthur C. Clarke, Harlan Ellison, A Boy and His Dog. Now, and Jim Aiken. So Harlan Ellison, A Boy and His Dog, is that the one that Outlaw Bookseller waxes lyrical about? I think I might have that in another collection of Harlan Ellison anyway, but that makes that more intriguing because Harlan Ellison is maybe my new crush, literary crush. I know, I'm late. Oh, this reminds me of the old R.A. Salvatore. Is that correct? The fancy that I read a few when I was a kid. That cover reminds me of those kind of books. Graham Diamond, Lady of the Haven. Stacy, Princess of the Empire. Stacy, Princess of the Empire, battles against the Wolf Queen. Okay, so that's not Stacy, that's probably the Wolf Queen. Beautiful, adventurous Stacy, Princess of the Empire, leaves the safety of the haven and sets out on a daring journey in search of Satra, the legendary lost city. So, I don't know, I've said to you before that I do need to jump into some of these tales where they have this amazing goal, like almost impossible goal to achieve, and you have to go through, you know, the haunted forests and go past the giant and into the well and, you know, the caverns or whatever. Okay, 1980, so not as new as I thought, in pretty good condition. But let me know if you know anything about this book. I've had a few on the halls before where people have emailed me or posted comments where saying, you should probably keep that because it's rare. I don't think this one is, but let me know what you think. Okay, nearly to the base of one part. So Hamlin science fiction, which you know I like. Dark Universe by Daniel F. Galloy. Nice. Again, nice. A little bit of a roll. That's probably my least favourite. Like I can handle markings and chips and, you know, tears more than that. That just gets me. Because I think it's the mathematics of it. The world has been in darkness since light almighty departed in anger at mankind's sins. Again, a theme again, like men are bad, or, you know, like the old ego. You've seen the triangle where man is kind of on the top of nature, that's ego, and man is in the midst nature, in the visualization is eco. These are all like ego. Man is destroying the beauty of the universe. But that might change if man can purify himself. So believe the inhabitants of the dark universe. Interesting. So there's another universe, it's dark, saying you can be saved. I like the sound of this one. Never heard of Daniel F. Galloy. And that is 1983, but originally 1961, the story. So yeah, I like that one. I didn't realise the cover originally, but it's like a meadow and then someone opens up a door in the meadow. So Panther science fiction with a scratch on it. Poul Anderson, which I've got a lot of Poul Anderson that I really need to start reading. I might need to do the triple Poul Anderson like I did the triple A Van Vogt, because it must be up there. I did an analysis the other day. The most books by a single author currently is Philip K. Dick, and I think the most books I have for a publisher is still Gollancz. But I'm seeing how it goes. I'll let you know when it changes. But Poul Anderson, I think, is right up there after Doomsday. And that's a nice Panther. Again, in good condition with a great cover. Old school. I don't think I have After Doomsday either. So this one, 1975 reprint. Nice. Earth is dead, murdered from the depths of space. So again, dying Earth. It's all dying Earth. A strange scratch on the top. You see that white line? It looks like it's part of the printing. It looks like it might be like a hair on the... Can you imagine all the books were printed and there was like a cat hair on it? And then someone in charge of printing was like, oh, well, they have to go out anyway. Stories. Oh. I'm looking at this and seeing Avatar crossed with Star Wars. So John Mackenzie, City White Light, the shocking visionary novel of our city's nightmare future. It is all dystopia, isn't it? It's like a dystopian collection. But you'll see what I mean. Avatar at the top, Boba Fett at the bottom, or Mandalorian. The decay had long since set in. Then came the plague. They called it the Medina, the rotting centre of a nightmare city. Yeah, again, doesn't float my boat. Reminds me of zombies. Okay, Fontana 1988, so a little bit new, maybe a little bit new. Something I wouldn't pick up. I don't know, it gives me vibes of YA as well. But I'll do a bit of research on that. Again, let me know if you know anything about that book or you read it. I like to be proven wrong with my judge a book by a cover judgments. Another corgi, J.T. McIntosh. Man was free to roam every planet in the galaxy. Every planet except Earth. Now this is really good condition again. What's the other corgi I got that was really good condition? The James White one, wasn't it? Is this similar? Let me just find the James White one again. Yeah, it's slightly different. It's a different time. But this is nice. And the first page says, Earth is dying. J.T. McIntosh, Corgi Books, 1977. In great condition again. I don't know, I feel like someone's created a collection of a very specific theme and then not read them. Do you think that could be foretelling of my life? This science fiction retirement library, and I either never get to retire or I just, never get to read even a small percentage. I am struggling for time to read at the moment because of work, but the idea is that, I have this lovely pastoral life where I'm just reading and walking dogs and drinking tea and, going out for quiet pub lunches with my wife. And I have a lot of time to read these stories and hopefully keep the channel going for that long to see, imagine I could get to a point where I'm tracking a percentage of reading a vast science fiction library. I don't know. Long way off, it feels like, but you can but dream, as I've said before. Okay, Picador. No, I don't have any Picador. A History of the World in 10.5 chapters, Julian Barnes. Now that looks like Noah's Ark in the back, and that looks like a modern space vessel that's come down from a trip. I've never heard of this. Obviously, I've heard of Julian Barnes. I think I've even read, is it Sense of an Ending? I read something again 20 years ago, whenever it was. This is new for sure. £2 it says. 1990. So this is the newest. The Stowaway, The Visitors, The Wars of Religion, The Survivor. So, frequently brilliant, funny, thoughtful, iconoclastic, and delight to read. Barnes is like a worldly secular reincarnation. I don't really know what it is. I'll have to look it up. Yeah, again, let me know if there's anything you know. The cover is intriguing, obviously. Julian Barnes is, I remember him being a very capable writer, literary type writer. But again, not something I pick up usually. Okay, another Foursquare, but a thick Foursquare. Not with a Bang, Chapman Pincher. The Daily Express columnist's gripping novel of the future. There's a cover. There it is on the back, old school. A drug to prolong life and restore youth. Suddenly and dramatically, the scientist's dream comes true. But from its discovery develops a world crisis. You feel like these stories have all been told, but you have to remember this was 1965 by Chapman Pincher. This is the way the world ends. Not with a bang, but a whimper. Now that's famous. T.S. Eliot, The Hollow Men. Yeah, good condition. Another Foursquare. Never heard of it. So, nice. Wow. Now this reminds me of Star Trek. The other one was Avatar and Star Wars. This is Star Trek. So, what an interesting range. There's a bit more modern in here, but because I don't jump into the 80s and 90s as much, definitely the 90s, I don't really jump into. I was obviously buying and reading books, but I haven't collected 90s books, let's say. Eric Frank Russell, Wasp. He was sent to make war against another planet single-handedly. Now that's, I don't know, that's like, that's not just me, is it? That is a little bit what's it? Spocky. I'm just looking at the ears, maybe. Atlas Book Exchange. I wonder where that is. 19. Okay, interesting. So it's a story from 1957, which is good. But it doesn't say where this is from. Methuen, £2.50. It doesn't say when this was published, which is slightly strange. So old story. Yeah, it doesn't say where it reprinted, made and printed in Great Britain. Oh, sorry. There we go. 1986. We want you to become a wasp, said the Secret Service man. See this picture? 4 men dead, a car smashed, all because of a tiny insect. Another insect. Insect apocalypse. Niche. Okay. So this is an author I want. Actually, is this the famous one? This is the book-pilled one, right? So Norman Spinrad, The Iron Dream. Again, in my memory, because it's got Hitler on a motorbike, I think it might be the one that he really liked. Again, I could be wrong. Norman Spinrad presents Adolf Hitler's sci-fi classic, and there's critics rave. Yes, maybe it is. Slight roll again. Panther as well. Very happy. 1974. Let Adolf Hitler transport you to a far future Earth, where only Ferric Jagger and his mighty weapon, the Steel Commander, stand between the remnants of true humanity and annihilation at the hands of the totally evil dominators and the mindless mutant hordes they completely control. Lord of the Swastika is recognized as the most vivid and popular of Hitler's science fiction novels by fans the world over. I think it is that one. I remember seeing a video a couple of years back, maybe. So that's a surprise. I'm impressed with that. I'll have to look that up. I don't think they're that easy to get hold of. So let me have a look. It's going on my favourites pile. My favourites pile is big. It's glowing. The new Ace science fiction specials, edited by Terry Carr, Metrophage by Richard Cadre. Although you can't really read it because it's a very funky cyberpunk 80s design. That's my guess anyway. And it's got a strange hole in the cover. 19... No way. Oh yeah, 1988. Ace edition, 1988. Welcome to Los Angeles, where anger, hunger and disease run rampant. The theme is there. That one again doesn't really rock my boat. Oh, a nice thin little sphere. Okay. Robert E. Howard, creator of Conan, but this is Almeric. The great interplanetary epic of sword and sorcery. I love the fact that a great epic can be that big. 150 odd pages. This has never been read either. Fantastic condition. Let's say it's science fantasy because it's got planets and swords. Spaceships and Swords, 1977. When Asau Karen was sent across space to the demon-haunted planet of Almeric, he knew nothing of his destination. Almeric, the secret discovery of the scientist who had invented the space transition machine, was a hell world of strange and terrible beings, of savages and swordsmen, of winged monsters and incredible memories. Sometimes you just think, this Robert E. Howard, whatever comes into that, they just put it on a page. And that's fantastic. More of us should do that, I feel. That's what I'm trying to do in my book reviews. Another Grafton. Black Alert by Alan White. The chillingly authentic novel of build-up to the British nuclear holocaust. So there is definitely a theme here. We have talked our extinction to death. Now it's really happening. This is, again, not read. I'm going to feel bad like splitting some of this up because it's a thematic collection that someone's built over time. That's my belief here. So 1986, so slightly later again, not read. Alan White. Good book. Right, how are we doing? I'm just going to take a little census. 38. So another 12. And then that's part one, I would suggest. Even though I'd love to go on. I might do it today, but for you guys, it's already an hour in. Panther science fiction, but this looks pretty new. Chelsea Quinn, who I've heard of. Yarbrough, Time of the Fourth Horseman. Miss Yarbrough's talent recalls the Ray Bradbury of Dark Carnival. No mean compliment. Yes, no mean compliment. Ray Bradders, or Ray Badders, from the one before. Her writing flashes with dark and bloody vividness that may yet make her the female counterpart of Harlan Ellison. There's some stoking here. Some big up. 1982. 21st century medicine has wiped out all the deadly diseases, but suddenly a large American city is gripped by epidemics of smallpox. And it's good condition again. It's a Granada, slight lean, like very, I don't know what you'd call that cover, but what's going on with the green? Like someone, yeah. But no, I will keep that. I think I might even have a Chelsea Quinn from another haul. Well, I've definitely got another Chelsea Quinn here. I don't know if I can show. I might have to not show. It's rude. Chelsea Quinn Yarbrough, a stark and savage illumination of the new Dark Ages. False Dawn. Showed it quickly. Faded spine. In the 21st century. Oh, okay. So this is Mutant. This says Mutant. That one says, it does not say Mutant. But False Dawn, I presume it's very similar age. So 1981. So it is late 70s original writing in 1981. So they're definitely a collection. Yeah. Very colourful. Good condition. Again, not rocking my world. Floating my boat. Oh, another H.G. Wells. And is it the same? Was the H.G. Wells Fontana? I think it was. The Valley Spiders. Good condition again. I'm sorry, I'm not putting it up to the camera. And is that similar age? 1972, third impression. Nice. 13 macabre stories of the supernatural. The Valley of Spiders, Pollock and the Porrow Man, the late Mr. Elvesham. That's really the good condition again. That's really good condition again. It's hard to get across in the video, but it's very square. And 1972. That's nice for my collection. I'm putting that on my favourites. Maybe I put the H.G. Wells on my favourites. No, I don't know. I've lost it. It's gone into another dimension. Another pan. Joe Rummage, Graham Wright, the new masterpiece of fantasy that critics have compared to Tolkien. I had another one that was compared to Tolkien. So I take that with a pinch of salt. And I think, is that 3 meerkats or rats at the front? Is it like an animal, Tolkien? Jogs are quirky, kindly, intelligent creatures who live by the strange light of their moon. Is this H. Beam Piper? There's some fuzzies running around. But nice cover, nice condition. Now, how old? I think it's in late 70s, surely. Maybe 80s, it's very clean. 1977, this edition. So, is it pure fantasy? It's an amazing edition again. So, yeah, let me know as a sci-fi fan if it's worth reading something like that. It's pan, so I'll probably keep it. I do love collecting pans, so... Okay. See, whenever I see covers like this now, I'm reminded of Aldous and Barefoot in the Head, which was I think it might be the only Corgi sci-fi collector's library. I tell you what though, that was not as good condition as this. So Andromeda Breakthrough, Fred Hoyle and John Elliott. So I got a few Fred Hoyle the other day in the black penguins. Now this is great condition. So I said that these I find very thin. And yeah, the cover it's like, it's an interesting texture, like a football or something, but they're very thin. But this is the best condition one I've got, for sure. And they always do these kind of, I think it's like a circle with an interesting cover. That actually looks like a clock or a vinyl record. So something to do with time, isn't it? Here for the connoisseur, For the devotee of the SF genre, and for those who like their reading to combine excitement with good writing, is the Corgi SF... Oh, that's the collector's edition. Both the computer and the woman were the products of an alien intelligence. Man has built them to the specifications of a signal received from the constellation of Andromeda. That looks good. I like the look of that, and I really like that. That's kind of good comic book art. Nice, I'm putting that on my favourites. Now, how many we got? I didn't count. 3, 40, 43. So I'm going to get 7 out so that I don't have to go back again. So that's 4, and then the first 3 there. 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll put them there like that. And that should be the 50, so the halfway mark. So another, oh nice. Another Kate Wilhelm, and it is the classic. So Where Late the Sweet Bird Sang. And I only have the Sci-Fi Masterwork, so this is a... What's the edition? Who's the publisher? Oh, Arrow, okay. Again, a little bit of a lean, post-apocalyptic, classic Kate Wilhelm, fits with the theme. On Earth, after the cataclysm, men were sterile, women barren. See, I should remember that. No chance with my aging brain. Okay, so this is 1981, but it's nice to have an earlier version. I don't know how the sci-fi, what's that, 90s, Sci-Fi Masterworks, but little lean again, but nice. Another Kate Wilhelm. Sorry, put that over there. If you could see the piles of books that are happening here. I think I got this in another haul, and I don't know if I kept it. So it's Fade Out by Patrick Tilley. I'm almost certain I got this exact edition, Sphere, and even in this similar condition. The day the unknown fell to earth, the date was Friday, the 3rd of August. For some people, depending on where they lived, the day was just beginning. For others, it was the end of another perfectly normal day. Suddenly, all around the world, every ground and airborne radar screen went haywire. Now, again, if I've got a duplicate of this and they're both in good condition, a giveaway. So I'll do, after the video, when I've got time, I'll do kind of analysis of the stuff that I think is worth giving away. Some things is just definitely charity, right? Maybe not from this haul, but generally. And then I'll put maybe on a post to remind people if they want a free book. And I'm really happy to share with the community things that my duplicates or might be more exciting to you than me, let's say. Okay. A terrifyingly prophetic novel that will chill you to the bone. Robert Charles's Night World. That rings a bell as well. So I think that's faded. I think it was purple stroke. Maybe not. You can't really see the Night World there, so it probably is. Halley's Comet, Harbinger of Doom. It appeared in 1066, just before the armies of William the Conqueror invaded Earth. It appeared in 1453 to herald the fall and rape of Constantinople. It appeared in 1910, only a few years before the Great War plunged all of Europe into devastation and ruin. And when it returned in 1985, the sun went out. Corgi, 1984. The sun went out in 1984. Yeah, the big world-ending, cataclysmic, natural-esque kind of events. Yeah, doesn't excite me as much as other things. Oh wow. Okay, so really good copy. This isn't as good a copy, but it is a very famous book in the Corgi Sci-Fi Collector's Library. This is one of the worst condition books that I've had so far. But it is A Canticle for Leibowitz, Walter M. Miller. So that's a nice surprise, but it has definitely been read. And you can see here, this is the problem with these Corgi Sci-Fi Collectors Libraries, is it's been handled a lot, and you see the white dots, that's kind of because it's raised areas. But good front cover. So this has definitely been read, probably by a few people. And this edition is 1974. Oh. And there's an advert for Prudential inside. So, good to have this again. I've only got the Sci-Fi Masterworks, the original black cover of this. I haven't read it for a long time. The classic novel of a new dark age and a new renaissance. But good. Couple of those, or I'm getting more of those Corgi Sci-Fi Collectors Libraries, and you know what I'm going to have to do. I am going to collect them at some point. Okay, I've definitely got this. Haven't read it, but I've got it. I need to check the condition. The Jonah Kit by Ian Watson. Now, as a real big marine conservationist, I love my cetaceans, whales and dolphins, etc. My rays. This is appealing because anything to do with sci-fi, to do with, you know, big marine mammals, is right up my alley. The god whale, is it T.G. Bass, those kind of things, or even, you remember, like the Abyss and stuff like that, right? Anything sea based to do with sci-fi is great. So I haven't read this. I've got this. I don't know if it's in as good condition as this or not, but again, this could fill the list of I will keep it, and if someone wants one of the copies, free book. I probably can't do like hundreds because the postage costs, but I'm definitely going to continue to send books out to the community if they want them. Richard Doyle, Deluge. So this reminds me of Ballard, that kind of apocalyptic scene. So the Drowned World, for example, or Drought, or something like that. So by the author of Imperial 109, another towering inferno. So there's Big Ben underwater. So whoever had these definitely liked these cataclysmic events in their literature. So 1978 by Pan. Not the greatest condition again, but something I don't have. I'm starting to think I could have a, you know, an apocalyptic section of Pan. Okay, now I've got a good, literally there, it might even just be, that's Lauma, it's up there, a good collection of Edmund Cooper now, especially in the Coronet, and I really like the covers, and I really like this cover, and I don't know if I've got this. I don't know if I've got 5 to 12, but this is the 50th book, apparently. A brilliantly ingenious blend of satire and science fiction. The ones I've got are better condition than this. This feels a little bit faded, you can tell, because the sea of Coronet is gone there. But it will be a keeper if I haven't got it until I can get an upgrade. And again, these Edmund Coopers are really nice. I just need to actually read him at some point. And I think they're pretty easy reads from what I believe. The 21st century is drawing to an end. Earth's social structure has undergone a complete reversal. Women dominate society and men have been reduced to the status of manipulated objects. Is that there? Didn't we discuss Who Needs Men? Is one of Edmund Cooper's as well. So very interesting theme. So book 50 and Joy. No tea left, but Joy. Really enjoyed that. Like, this is one of my favourite things to do in the world. But just as a conclusion for this one, now let me move that one. I have put, I think, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I've put 11 into what I've put as a favourites pile, right? So what I'll do is I'll do this also for the second batch. But obviously there's some real standouts. If I had to pick 3 or 4 standouts, that has to be right up there because it's one I saw. That is just, that's a collectible. And if only I had my other Joanna Russ at hand, and I didn't plan that, but I do, now that I've put them in some kind of order. Is it similar to that? Yes, it is. Star Books. Yeah. So that's one I picked up before in my favourite second-hand bookshop. And this is a similar version. So together, fantastic. So Picnic on Paradise and The Female Man. Let me just put that one back so I can remember. So that's definitely up there. I think, let me just look at the others. Yeah, I think probably those early ones. Like, I really like the look of that. Not the best condition, but I do really like the look of that. And it's Lancer. I don't have a lot of Lancer. I really like the look of that. That just appeals to me, and I can't really explain why. As a book, that appeals to me. And if I had to pick one more, probably because of I haven't got a copy of this, and I didn't expect it, is the Norman Spinrad. So But yeah, 11 favourites, like very happy about. Plus, almost all of them are for my collection for sure. There's only a few duplicates, but there's like 11 standouts that I'm extra excited about. It's a really like impressive result, I believe, for 50 books. So thank you very much for watching as always. Please like, subscribe and comment. Apparently something like 70% of my views are non-subscribers, so it would be great if people subscribed, if they like my content. There's obviously no pressure, but it does help with a lot of the measures, etc., the algorithm, etc., etc. But join me for part 2. I might even do it very quickly tonight or tomorrow, because I've got an open box here with 50 books in there. So anyway, thank you again, and I'll see you very soon. Cheers.